Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the COVID Care Healing Handbook. We're back with our sixth session, the last session for this series, with Tanya Castillo. And she's going to be talking about finding equanimity in the midst of chaos today. And I'm going to just invite her on here so we can get talking with her. All right. So, as we wait for Tanya to join us, I would like. Oh, here she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. Having an issue here with the placement of the mobile.
Hey, that's okay. Take your time. See how it fits best for you.
Right.
Hi, Joaquin. Joaquin. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Joaquin. Joaquin.
Joaquin. Oh, okay. Sorry about that wrong pronunciation.
Well,
Everyone who's tuning in for this session, thank you, Tanya, for
thank you.
to join and be here. Really, really
Thank you.
happy to have you.
Thank you for the invitation, Shaira. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
So, Tanya is joining us from Portugal, is it right?
Exactly.
Yes, Tanya is joining us from Portugal. Tanya is an isness mentor, and she is the founder of InPassion coaching, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what and who an isness mentor is?
Okay, right. So the name is coined by me.
Yes, because I'm not sure all of you understand what an isness mentor is. So let's hear from you.
Right. And because it's something that is not sort of something that is regular or normal, I created my own name. An business mentor, which is what I call myself, is simply holding a safe space for the reunion of human and divine. And that's it. And what I do is hold that space through staying in the compassionate breath. So I invite people to come into their breath, to come into their presence, into their body, into their now moment, to be able to gain clarity and perception about what is their wisdom and what isn't, what is confusing them. So through that coming into the safe space within our breath, within our core, we can actually become aware of much more than when we are entertained in our thoughts.
Wow. So, you mean to come into that isness space, it's important for us to connect to our breath?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes.
Beautiful. You know, the first time I heard you tell me that you were an isness mentor, I was so, I just was so pleasantly surprised to hear a word like that. I hadn't ever heard anyone call themselves an isness mentor, but someone from a field like ours, a field like, doing the work, kind of work that you do, calling yourself that makes so much sense. Um, I just love that you call yourself an isness mentor. And Tanya over here, she's going to be talking to us about finding equanimity in the midst of chaos. So, Tanya, like you already know, India is burning with COVID cases, and we have
Mm-hmm.
seen the worst. Um, the pandemic has been the worst so far. Uh, whatever we have experienced in the past, about say more than a month now.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, nowhere in the world has anyone experienced what we have experienced in more than about a month now. And it is a very chaotic situation indeed. And I would love to know how it is that we can find that kind of an equanimity amidst
Mm-hmm.
this crazily chaotic situation that we are finding ourselves in, with thousands of people losing their lives every,
Mm-hmm.
and so much fear and so much trauma that we're experiencing as a country, and so much grief, so much sadness, so much anger, angst, and frustration. I mean, it's what we're experiencing is something that is truly unprecedented, for us,
Mm.
the country, for the world in general. And to even begin to think that we can find equanimity in midst of such a chaotic situation seems incomprehensible almost. But I would love to know how it is that you think we can find equanimity in the midst of such a chaotic situation.
Mm-hmm. So first, the question would be, do you want to find equanimity? Because if one does not want to, of course one cannot. That
Right.
is the first thing. Drama is very seductive. And whenever there is a lot of it going around, it becomes even more seductive. And then it becomes a case of, to be normal, we have to go along with the drama, or then be strange and be completely different and find a different kind of space to be in. So the question would be, just like you have several examples in India, really a lot of them actually, of people showing this example in their own lives of finding equanimity in the midst of chaos. So, of course, for example, the figure of Gandhi is very, it brings up a lot of discussion. I know that many people in India do not view his position and the way he acted as something good. Other people, of course, view the opposite. But
Right.
one way or another, he was a figure that represented equanimity in the midst of chaos. Whether people agree with what he did and the way he did things or not is another issue. So he is not the kind of figure that everyone in India loves. Okay, I know that. But just like that, there are also other figures that you can look at and that have had that same level of equanimity in the midst of chaos, because India actually has been through a lot of chaos. This is the most recent chaos. And I'm saying this from a country like Portugal that actually brought some chaos to India. And also other good things, but also things that were probably not so good. And in the midst of all of these chaotic situations, there were always those who took leadership in showing a different way. Actually, India, I would say, is one of the best examples for the whole world of how to deal with extreme situations. You have this in the core of Indian philosophy, of the way people perceive and live things. The point is, for the most part of the population, it is easier to pretend that eventually only the good is nice and to forget to look at the dark side. But when the dark side is there, it will keep on creating havoc until it is addressed.
Right.
So trying to sink our head in the sand and pretend nothing is happening is not an option.
Right.
So when I say that it is possible to find equanimity in the midst of chaos, I am not saying pretend nothing is happening.
Right.
I am not saying forget about the fact that there's all of this drama going on. What I'm saying is become real. And the first real thing is responding to this question: do you really want equanimity? Or is chaos more seductive? So, taking it from there, then the second question is, if you're feeling all sorts of emotions like anger, frustration, loss, the anguish, sadness, so much, some confusion, all of these things, so many things coming up. If you're feeling these things, first become aware that you are feeling these things. So, these things are not being brought upon you or forced upon you by the outside circumstances, though they are the trigger for those emotions. So these outside circumstances are chaotic and they are producing emotions in you, but those emotions are a result of your background, of your emotional background.
Wow.
Or your family or whoever you live with or wherever you are brought up.
Yes.
So then, instead of complaining about the situation and trying to fight against things and trying to sort of, just kneel and pray to God and hope for the best, I would say, okay, kneel and surrender to God inside of you so that God inside of you can help you find your way through these emotions. Because if they are there, they are yours.
Yeah.
So by diving into these emotions, we can find that equanimity. But it is, of course, not easy to dive into the emotions. So this is where the breath comes in, right? So the breath in this case functions like a channel of safe space in the middle of you, bringing you into your core, the core deep down in your belly, where our energy center, our life force springs from. So coming into this space inside of us through the breath. And why? Because the breath is the one single thing that is with us and that gives us life from the moment we step into this lifetime to the moment we cease to be in this lifetime. And it is through the breath that the whole system is informed. So our nervous system is informed of whether we are in stress and we should run and hide or protect ourselves in any way, or whether we are safe through the way we're breathing. So if our breath is short and panicked, we are informing our system that there is chaos, that we are in danger, and that therefore we must do something to protect ourselves. And so all of the stress mechanisms are put on, okay? But this is intended biologically to happen every once in a while in very specific situations where we are really threatened.
Right.
But living in constant drama or in emotional turmoil creates this kind of physical reaction on a permanent basis because of the breath, the way the breath is. So the first thing is aligning with the breath in a serene way. That's why we usually say to someone, if the person is nervous, take a deep breath, right?
Right.
So in this case, the breath is just through the nose. It's not sort of any kind of technique, right? That you need to count or you need to do whatever number of short and long and whatever. It's a natural breath. The breath I'm inviting is through the nose because that's how we breathe, unless we have a blockage in our nose. We don't go around breathing through the nose and the mouth.
Right.
We use that for specific situations, during exercise or whatever, but it's not the natural breath. So the natural breath is through the nose. And the natural breath through the nose tells our body everything is okay when it is calm and wide. When it is accelerated and short, that tells the body there is something wrong.
Right.
So that's why I invite people to breathe, and I call it the compassionate breath. Why? Because compassion is unconditional love. It is the space within our core where we can be free from judgment, and therefore we can perceive whatever we are feeling not as the actor of that emotion, but as the observer of it. And therefore we can choose what to do with that emotion. You can say, do I need this now? Is this still happening? Is this still necessary? Do I need to hold on to whatever is causing this? Or can I embrace this lovingly? Because it is always a part of us that is feeling that. Usually a child or a youngster. So I can embrace that child or that youngster that is feeling that. Just hold him or her in my arms lovingly. Don't need to say anything. Just like we would do with someone who's crying and just needs that loving hug. I can do that in my breath. The breath is that hug. And the emotion will de-escalate.
Right. Oh, wow. I think everything that you've shared so far has been so profound in so many ways, and I already have so many questions. To begin with, why would you say, are we so addicted to drama? You said drama is addictive. What is it that makes drama addictive? Why are we so addicted to drama?
I would give that question actually to the public for each person to perceive for themselves. Why are you, whoever is watching, if you feel you're addicted to drama, like if there's an accident, you tend to stop and want to see what's going on, and then you talk about it and you tell your friends that you saw it, and you know all of the things that were going on, and if there was blood, it's even more exciting in the negative way, but yeah. Or if you see a fire, you run and want to see what's going on. Why? I would ask each one to ask oneself, why? I would
Right.
rather not answer that question myself.
Yeah. I think also the answer for each one of us would be different depending on, our nervous system regulation. But what I would also like to know is that when you talk about becoming the observer instead of being the actor, and when you say that while the circumstances outside may be chaotic, and they serve as a trigger for those emotions to well up from within us, right? They serve as a trigger. Uh, I think it takes a really evolved person, a really evolved individual who has persistently and consistently worked on themselves to come to this realization that I am the observer of my emotions. I am not an actor. I am the chaos exists within me, it does not exist outside of me. Outside of me, the chaos that I see outside of me is only a trigger to the chaos that is within me. Now, it takes a really evolved person who's done this work for, I think, years at a stretch to come to this realization. Given the situation that we're in, and given that not a lot of us have, and without any judgment saying this, not a lot of us have begun to put that work yet, how do we deal with this chaos? Because to actually say something like, I'm just an observer, I'm not an actor, or, the chaos is actually within me, the outside chaos is just a trigger, is something that sounds too philosophical to people who haven't yet done the work.
So my question would be, have you had enough? Or do you want to keep on being the victim?
Right.
So this is the first thing for each person to consider. And then to realize, yes, it is a journey, but a journey starts with the first step. And it starts with a choice. So the first thing is to choose. Do you want to keep on perceiving yourself as a victim of circumstances? Or do you want to become the owner of your existence, the creator?
Right.
And then realizing that everyone is evolved from a spiritual point of view, meaning that we are all spirit having a human experience.
Right.
All of us. No matter how forgotten we are of that, no matter how oblivious we are of that, there is no single one who is not spirit having a human experience. Therefore, we all have inside of us the guiding light, the guiding posts, and the guiding voice to lead us and indicate how to move through the chaos. The point is, do you want to stop being the victim of circumstances? Stop being stubborn and thinking you know it all. This is a question for the people who, as you said, might think they are not yet capable of becoming the observer. So would you be willing to stop being stubborn and thinking that you know it all with your problem solving skills and just shut up, keep quiet and listen? Because we all have our inner voice. Everyone has had occasions, no matter how oblivious of being this wise self one may be, everyone has had intuitive moments. And everyone knows that intuition never, ever leads us astray. Everyone knows this. Now, which voice is going to speak louder? Because the thing is, the voice of intuition speaks very softly, never screams, ever. So it will not impose itself. It will not force someone to see or listen. But then the other voices in the mind, those speak quite loud. And they usually are the predecessors of our decisions.
Yeah.
And the victim is only in place to protect us.
Right.
The point is, if we want to really be safe within, maybe we need to find another way. And this is where the decision, okay, I know there is a journey into this opening and unfolding to being able to be the observer, but my decision to do that has to be made now. And this is why the chaos is right in front of each person's nose. Because it's only in moments of great pain that we surrender. So this is one of the greatest opportunities that everyone has.
So basically, it's time to awaken to our true spirit self. Like you said, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. It's time to awaken to that part of us.
If one chooses to, yes. And this is also the way to deal with the pain of death, of losing loved ones. It's all in the same sphere. Because none of us are going to be here on earth forever in this form and in this lifetime. Lifetimes are a limited period. Why go into so much stress around something that everyone knows? That we're only going to be here for a limited period of time in each lifetime.
Right.
I mean, pretending that that is not true and getting attached to what we think things should be like, or to the people that we think should stay here forever, is an illusion. It's an immature illusion.
Right. Yes. But don't you think that people also have a right to be angry with respect to everything that's going on, in a way?
That depends on how much they love themselves. The right to be angry is really silly if you love yourself. Because being angry really produces a lot of stress hormones and a lot of pain.
Yes.
It's okay. I mean, one can exert that right. We all have free will. The question is, how much do you love yourself?
Yes. It reminds me of this quote, I think it's by Eckhart Tolle, that says that if you knew what feeling negative emotions does to your body, you would never think another negative thought.
Exactly. Basically, that's it. Oh yeah, of course you have the right. The point is, do you need that right? Or could you forego it for something much better?
So in that case, I think right now we're in a fight mode, fight or flight. We're in a fight. Our country, a lot of us as individuals, we're a lot in the fight mode. Fighting the virus, fighting the government,
fighting for life, fighting for everything.
Fighting, a lot in the fight mode. So how to start easing from there using specific tools? If you have any specific tools that we can start using.
Well, So I'll just share how to really just come into the breath, which
Yes,
is pretty simple.
yes,
It
please.
might not be easy if a person is too stressed, but
Right.
just keep on trying. I'll say. Just keep on trying until you calm down. So, very simple. So, as I said, breathing through the nose, finding a really comfortable place where you can sit and lean back, eventually support the head also on a chair or sofa, if on the wall, on wherever, just really leaning back so that the head is not creating a there exactly. I won't lean back, otherwise I can't hold, which is slipping. But that's exactly it, Shaira. Thank you. Um, so the body needs to feel safe. That's why it's important to be comfortable, extremely comfortable, no tensions anywhere.
Right.
Okay? And then I always invite people to close their eyes, because if you close your eyes, you're not so distracted with whatever is around you. And then just focus on how the breath is coming into the body. So, inhaling gently but deeply through the nose, allowing the breath to expand however it chooses and however you can allow it to go. And so when you inhale, notice if the air is stuck up in the chest, or if your diaphragm is now relaxing and you can breathe into your belly. So as you inhale deeply through the nose, expand the belly as it allows, depending on how you're feeling at the moment, but not forcing yourself to breathe into the belly. Just gently allowing. And just bringing all of your attention only to the breath. So if a thought comes up, imagine it's a leaf on the current of a stream and it just flows by. And you don't need to go after it. You just stay here in the breath. And as you inhale deeply and softly through your nose, and exhale also through your nose at your own pace, allowing the breath to expand gradually more and more. Feel yourself like a feather, lightly floating down, down into your core, down below your navel, which is your center, your energy center, your life force. And just breathing into the core. Inhaling and exhaling deeply and softly. gently feeling the silence growing as you just focus on breathing and staying in the breath, not going away with any thoughts, just staying here in this breath right now. Allowing the body to relax completely and allowing yourself to receive the warmth of your own embrace in the breath. You might be aware of emotions, but you are just staying in the breath, allowing them to be there without taking you anywhere. Just being in this space of awareness, awareness of your presence in your body, in the place where you are right now. In each moment of each breath. Letting go of all other people, places, and situations. Just allowing yourself this simple pause. The pure serenity of staying. And so I invite you to prepare to open your eyes in your own time, remaining aware of yourself, of your breath.
Wow. I almost don't want to get out of this zone now.
And the idea is to remain in it,
Right.
even with your eyes open, and no matter what you will be doing during the day. So the compassionate breath, I do not call it meditation or mindfulness, for the very simple reason that it's a way of life. But of course, in order for it to become more and more the way of life, it needs to be practiced in moments
Right.
where we sit back, lie back, close our eyes, and just stay in that. And then keep it up for as long as we can after opening our eyes. And throughout the day, remember when things start getting out of hand, wait a minute, let me come back to my breath. And in that, find again that safe space that is always here, where there is no chaos. That is where all of the chaos can come to rest and dissolve.
Wow. That was going to be my next question. Like, you know, how to, because it's very, right now I'm in such a calm state of mind, but how to be able to sustain this state of mind. So I guess consistent practice, right?
Yes, yes, being very, very consistent and determined.
Right.
You know, because what happens also when one starts to find this space inside, it is so blissful that everything that is not in bliss will come out of hiding.
Yes.
So our monsters will come and knock at the door and say, oh, wow, something's different here, because the monsters are just children that were not loved. They're just coming to ask, can I come in now? Will you love me now? So you see, though, those parts of us that reside in the darkness that are not seen or acknowledged seem like monsters and they are scary. If we are in this space, we realize that they are afraid. Because we have not accepted them. Because we have felt guilty and ashamed and so many other things.
Right.
But then if we are in this space, we can embrace. And we can gradually stay more and more in this space. The more we integrate, I call this integration, the more we integrate, the easier it becomes to stay longer and longer in this space. So it's not something you just click your fingers and all right, everything's resolved and there's nothing here to do. No, it requires, as you said, consistency. It requires a lot of determination. Many people give up. But my question in this case will always be, okay, so is your life in chaos not giving you work? Because people say, oh, that's too much work. Okay, so isn't it a struggle to live in chaos and stress and confusion and so on? As far as I know, from my experience, it's constant effort
Yes.
and work.
Yes. Indeed.
So I'd much rather choose this work of coming into staying in this equanimity than keep up the eternal, never-ending work and struggle of living in drama and effort, in forgetfulness. Because that will never end. There's no way out. The only way out is a new way. It's
Yeah.
another way.
So is this a way to get out of our addiction to drama?
Exactly. Yes, yes. And to realize really that drama is just seductive. It's just a seduction. It's a seduction that produces adrenaline.
Yeah.
And adrenaline is highly addictive.
Right.
Because we have this basic sense of safety, of course distorted, when the adrenaline is pumping.
Right.
Why? Because when we are in fight or flight mode, as you said just now, when the adrenaline is pumping, is because we are somehow finding protection. We're doing something to protect ourselves. So it gives us a false sense of control. And this is why it's so addictive. Responding to your question earlier on.
Right. Yes, a false sense of control. Wow. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Does definitely give a false sense of control when you're in that consistent cycle of addiction to drama. Feeling
Because feeling that you can deal with things, like that you know how to do something, but of course inside there's this super insecure child saying, what am I gonna do?
and life is falling apart.
Yeah.
The only way I can feel like I am in control of it
Is to fight.
is to consistently create drama. Yeah, wow. So profound, Tanya. I can talk to you forever, I swear.
Oh, thank you. I love talking to you.
Listen to you forever. You just have so many profound insights to share, always. It's such a pleasure to listen to you.
Thank you, Shaira. It's a pleasure also to be here with you. Wonderful pleasure. And these conversations are really what makes sense, because, it's not about being out in a monastery living an ascetic kind of life where nothing can interfere with us. It's like in the nitty-gritty everyday life that people have to face. That's where, how do you use that wisdom here in real life, in real situations like the one that people are living at the moment in India? I mean, it's a real situation.
Which actually brings me to another question is that the exercise you just guided us through is an exercise that we really need to be in, we really need to be in that space and time, have the time to do an exercise like this. Given the current scenario, a lot of people who are either caring for loved ones who are ill, or just, ill themselves, may not have the leverage of that kind of time to engage in a prolonged exercise like this. So are there any tools that they can use to center themselves immediately, like within a few minutes, maybe within a few seconds? Do we have tools?
Do you realize how long we were breathing?
During the exercise?
It was no more than 5 or 10 minutes. Now my question is, how long do people take on a daily basis to go through social media, to watch the news?
Right.
It takes that long or less.
Yeah. Right.
And the idea here is for people to do this in bite-sized proportions, especially initially, because it will be hard to stay focused for very long periods of time. So 5 minutes is enough. 5 minutes at a time. The reason why you lose the sense of time, why it seems much longer, is because we come into the now moment. And in the now moment, there is no linear time. So there is this sense of expansion of time, just because we're no longer attached to before or after. We're just here now. So this would be exactly my recommendation. Come into here now. And then come into you here now. And everyone and anyone can take 5 minutes several times a day to be this. Instead of going on social media, choose to do this. If you have to choose, if you don't have time for both, Instead of going to watch the news, which will pump more adrenaline,
Right.
do this. It's
Right.
all a question of choices.
Right.
And for the caretakers, if you can find this space inside of yourself, the quality of your caretaking will be enhanced, because it's much healthier to be with someone who is in a space of calm and peace than with someone who is pumped up with adrenaline.
Right. Yes. That's exactly what Mansi told us in her session yesterday as well. And Mansi's here. Thank you, Mansi, for joining in for this.
Oh, Mansi! Oh, Mansi! Hello! Wow! Yay!
Thank you, everyone, for within. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Beautiful, Tanya. Like I said, I could just listen to you forever.
Thank you, Shaira. Really, I don't like to share tools upon tools upon tools because, it's just a question of choosing what you want to do with your time when you have your next 5 minutes for
Right.
yourself.
Right. Right. Totally. Absolutely. I think I am still really in that zone that you had
Oh,
facilitated
great.
in during that exercise. My mind can't think of too much anymore.
Yay, brilliant.
I just I'm in this receiving mode. Like I welcome all the information that's coming from you, but can't think of much otherwise.
Great. You see, so when you're in that mode, all of a sudden, whatever, if there was a worry in your mind or something, it's just vanished, right? It's like, oh, where is it? Because worries are just entertainments. They don't really solve problems.
We love entertaining ourselves, right? Addiction to drama again.
There you are. Actually, when one is focused on worry, that takes up so much time
And space.
because there's all of these emotions going on inside that don't allow us to focus on what really matters. And
Right.
so at that point, we're not only not solving the issue, we are actually contributing to it getting worse.
Yeah.
So really, whatever issue actually, and this is challenging, if you're presented with a big challenge right in front of your nose, next time, instead of going into fight or flight mode, instead of, take a deep breath and stay. That is really, really a tough challenge. But you will see through the issue and it will get resolved very fast. Of course, if you're standing in the middle of the street and there's a truck coming, get out of there. In that case, you have to move. So, the thing is being aware of what kind of challenge we are living. And I would say over 90% of everyday current challenges are not of that kind that you're crossing the street and all of a sudden there's a truck coming and you have to run for your life.
Right. Correct. Yes. Agreed. Absolutely. Lovely. Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you so much for offering your words of wisdom as always, for sharing your knowledge with us, for such a beautiful session and such beautiful insight throughout the session.
Thank you. I really love India and I hope this situation will dwindle as fast as it is supposed to, really, because everything has its purpose. And I'm sure that what is happening right now will work its purpose. And I hope that when the purpose has been served, then peace can be found, and that I can go again to be with you in India and to really be in that. What I love most about India is the open-heartedness and the compassion. And the compassion here, what I mean with compassion is the capacity to view beyond judgment. And this exists in India like in no other place. Use it.
Right.
Use this gift that exists everywhere. It's in the land itself. This capacity to view beyond judgment. Because when we are there, in that point viewing beyond judgment, then we can embrace whatever situation is happening and find our way through it. But if we are judging and fighting against all the time,
Right.
then we can only see that.
Right.
We can't get a bigger picture.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. Agreed. Lovely. I hope really that the situation here gets better as well, and you can come visit us soon. And
Yes.
like always, it has been an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you so very much again, Tanya, for
Thank you too, Shaira, and for creating this for the people to find ways of dealing with this huge chaotic situation.
yes, yes. I think right now, more than any other time, we need these tools and we need these practices. And I think if we are able to kind of walk in the direction of that, self-introspection and self-reflection and connecting with our innermost selves at this point in time, and here on out, make it a consistent practice. I feel that we would be so much more well equipped to deal with anything that might be thrown at us at any point,
Yes,
in our life,
definitely.
at an individual,
Anytime,
right, at any point in time. So, yeah.
You know, energy always seeks resolution, meaning that the universe is consistently moving towards harmony. The universe is consistently going through cycles of chaos that move towards harmony.
I was just about to say that, and sometimes that harmony is realized through chaos.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's just the way things are.
right.
Accepting this, first of all, that this too shall pass, because that's just the way things are. Everything passes, be it chaotic and terrible and whatever, be it fantastic and wonderful and so on. This is why the space of equanimity, the middle, which is not taking oops, the internet went. That's why the space of equanimity is so important, not going into euphoria, not going into feeling completely lost and powerless. That's the essential learning point here. This too shall pass. But meanwhile, not going into the expectation over there.
Right. Being in the here.
Staying here.
Yes.
Because here is where everything is taking place now.
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. I am so very grateful to you, Tanya, honestly.
Me too. Thank you.
for
Thank
doing
you.
what you do, for offering your gifts in the way that you do to everyone around you, and for coming on here and doing this beautiful session with us. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for your generous heart as well, Shaira. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so if anyone wants to breathe with me,
Yes.
my information is in my website, inpassioncoaching.com, and I do compassionate breath sessions weekly, and sometimes I offer as well live sessions, etc. Actually, I share the breath in many, many ways. But really, just finding the place and the space to love more is the way through this. And in this I say love yourself more, because you cannot love anyone else until you really find that inside. And everyone's heard this, etc., but this is just a fact.
Right. Yeah. Just a cliche. It is. It is.
Yeah, it's not a cliche, it's really a fact, isn't it? I mean, there's no way around it.
Right. Totally. Yes. So everyone, whoever might be interested in experiencing these sessions in a more detailed manner with Tanya, please get in touch with her. You can DM her on Instagram. You can visit her website in passioncoaching.com, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will also provide
And I've done some work with Mansi as well. We've got a course on what's it called? No, I forget the name of the platform where our course is. Anyway, it's called The Divine Within You. Pardon?
Okay. I was saying you can share it with me and I can mention it in the
Yeah.
video next
It's
to.
called The Divine Within You, and together with also Anjali Agarwal, another friend and sister of ours. So she shares mantras and I share the breath, and Mansi shares her beautiful yoga practices. And so we have also done some things in collaboration, which people can then use in their own time.
Right.
Those are all tools that people can use and come deeper into this knowingness that all is well in all of creation, even though it doesn't seem to be, and this too shall pass.
Absolutely. This too shall pass for sure. And on that note, thank you so much again, Tanya, for being with us over here, for offering your lovely words of wisdom, your insights, your beautiful exercises that you shared with us over here. I'm sure it's going to benefit all those who tuned in, who already have tuned in, and those who would be tuning in later to watch this video. So
Thank you.
We are very grateful to you and for you.
All my love. All my love to you, Shaira, and to everyone. Thank you.
You.